I am clever, I am charming, I am witty and debonair, and with every little darling, there's no doubt that I could have an affair, and it's clear.
Boston, November the 3rd, 1903. A young man steps off the SS Vancouver. He's 21 years old. His name is, and please attend to this, for he attended to it, Carlo Pietro Giovanni Guglielmo Tebaldo Ponzi. Italians took their names seriously in those days. They were, in a real sense, the first inheritance. He has in his pocket $2 American and 50 cents. He had more when he boarded. He played cards in steerage with an elderly gentleman who turned out to be neither elderly nor a gentleman.
America, she is beautiful, no? I will be rich here. I will be famous. I will marry a Boston girl. I will dine on lobster every Tuesday.
He would achieve in time 3 of these 4. He worked. He worked in 7 cities and 3 countries. He was, by professional opinion, a charming, hopeless, indefatigable, useless employee. He was fired more often than he was hired. He kept smiling. In Montreal, he forged a check. He had been hungry. The check was for $423.58, an oddly precise amount, suggesting either that he had calculated his needs to the penny or that the figure was the first one his hand happened to write. He served 20 months in Saint-Vincent-de-Paul Penitentiary and emerged convinced that the experience had been character-building. It had not. In 1910, he was arrested in Atlanta for smuggling Italian immigrants from Canada. He served another 2 years. By 1917, he had been jailed in 2 countries on 2 charges. He was 35 years old. He had no money. He was about to invent the most consequential financial fraud of the 20th century. He did not yet know this. He did, however, marry Rose Maria Necco in February 1918 in a small ceremony at a Boston church. She brought him a sandwich at his clerical job every Tuesday. He kept the wax paper.
My dear, I've discovered a flaw.
A flaw in what?
The postal system. This coupon gives us 10 cents off any package. That's not a flaw, that's a sale. A brilliant one.
Rose, look at this thing. This little piece of paper.
It's a stamp, Carlo.
It is not a stamp. It is a coupon. An international reply coupon. Look, it says here, the man in Spain bought this coupon for 1 peseta. 1 peseta! That is about 1 penny in our money. And here in Boston, I take this coupon to the post office, and what do they give me? 6 American cents in stamps. Do you understand, Rose? 6!
Carlo, how do you turn the stamps into money?
I will sort that out. The principle, Rose. The principle is sound.
He had not invented a fraud. He had discovered a flaw. The flaw was real. The flaw could be exploited. The flaw could not be scaled. International reply coupons were created in 1906 by the Universal Postal Union to allow people to prepay return international postage. Their face value was set in the sender country's postal rates. Post-W1 currency dislocation meant that a coupon purchased in lira, francs, or pesetas could, on the day, be redeemed in the U.S. for stamps worth several times its purchase price. The arbitrage was legal. It was also bounded by physical coupon supply, by postal redemption mechanics. Coupons could be converted only to stamps, not to cash, and by the impossibility of moving meaningful quantities through actual postal counters. The instrument that made Ponzi famous was not the fraud. The fraud was what came next, when the math stopped working and he kept selling anyway.
Money doubles, new plan, Aspires Boston, 50% in 45 days, cash guaranteed. Step right up, don't miss out. See for yourself, Ponzi's the president.
On December the 26th, 1919, Charles Ponzi rented a small office at 27 School Street, Boston, hung a brass plate on the door, and incorporated the Securities Exchange Company. The plate cost him $3 and was, for several months, his only verified asset. His offer was simple: 50% return in 45 days, 100% in 90. The mechanism, he explained to those who asked, was proprietary. He could not, for competitive reasons, disclose it. The returns, he insisted, would speak for themselves. They did.
Mr. Ponzi, 50% in 45 days, guaranteed.
Cash, Mr. Daniels, cash. Guaranteed.
And if I want my money back before then?
After 45 days, my friend, you will not want it back. You will want to give me more.
The first promised return went out on the 45th day, in cash, to Mr. Daniels. So did the second. So did the third. By March 1920, the word on School Street was that Mr. Ponzi was either a genius or a saint or both. By April, the queue formed at dawn. By May, the queue was 3 deep along the block. By June, it ran around the corner. Mr. Ponzi had not bought a single international reply coupon. Pay early investors out of later investors' principal. As long as new money flows in faster than old money is redeemed, the scheme can run indefinitely. On paper. In practice, it always collapses, for the same arithmetic reason in every era. Exponential commitments cannot be honored by linear inflows. The Ponzi pattern is structurally identical to the chain letter, the pyramid scheme, the affinity fraud Bible study investment club, the high-yield investment program, and, in carefully disguised form, Madoff's hedge fund 70 years later. The discipline that emerged is the matching principle of fund regulation. Assets must exist, must be verifiable by an independent third party, must be segregated from manager assets. Trust me, the numbers are fine is not a control. Every depository rule, every NAV validation requirement, every Article 21 of AIFMD traces its ancestry to this storefront.
I am, you understand, a financial wizard. This is the modesty speaking.
By July 1920, Charles Ponzi was the most famous Italian in America who was not an opera singer. He had 30,000 investors. He had, by his own count, $15 million in cash. He had acquired a controlling interest in the Hanover Trust Company. He had purchased a 20-room mansion in Lexington with a fountain, a swimming pool, and a heated greenhouse for the orchids he did not know how to grow.
I am, you understand, a financial wizard. This is the modesty speaking. In private, I would say genius. Print whichever you prefer.
He was no longer a man. He was a rumor with a mustache. The rumor itself was the marketing. The marketing was the lifestyle. The lifestyle recruited the next cohort. The next cohort funded the lifestyle. The visible wealth was itself the product being sold. He believed in this period that he was operating an hour ahead of his own collapse. He was correct about the hour. He was incorrect that an hour could be maintained indefinitely. This is the fluorescent stage of every Ponzi scheme. The visible wealth is not a side effect of the fraud. It is the recruitment apparatus. Madoff did this with restraint in a Park Avenue penthouse and a yacht in the south of France. Bernard Kornfeld did it with flamboyance in a Geneva chateau. Alan Stanford did it with cricket sponsorship. R. Alan Stanford did it with a knighthood in Antigua. Sam Bankman-Fried did it with stadium naming rights and shorts at Davos. The variance is decoration. The mechanic is identical. The compliance question is identical too. Is the manager's lifestyle plausible given the disclosed assets under management? If not, ask why. The first independent due diligence question is also the simplest.
I do not know where the remainder is.
But I would suggest it has not yet been bought. The figures are moving! Follow the money! Reveal yourself.
Mr. Barron, Richard Groves here, Boston Post. I have a man here in Boston. Says he is paying 50% return in 45 days. Says he is doing it with foreign postal coupons. Says he has $15 million on deposit. I do not understand the trade. Could you have a look?
Mr. Grozier, I have not yet had my breakfast, but I can tell you without leaving this telephone that he is not.
Clarence Barron was a fat, jovial, gentle-looking man. He liked sweet wine and large breakfasts. He had never met Charles Ponzi. He did not, in any conventional sense, investigate him. He simply did the arithmetic. The arithmetic was elementary. The arithmetic was devastating.
If Mr. Ponzi holds $15 million of deposits backed by international reply coupons, then he holds, by the simplest calculation, approximately 160 million international reply coupons. There are not in the entire world 160 million international reply coupons. The Universal Postal Union estimates the global float at approximately 27,000. Mr. Ponzi's claimed inventory exceeds the world's by a factor of roughly 6,000. The remainder, sir, is somewhere else. I do not know where, but I would suggest it has not yet been bought.
The Boston Post published Barron's analysis on July the 26th, 1920. The run began the next morning. He paid them for 3 days. He kept smiling for 3 days. He insisted, on the steps of the Securities Exchange Company, with cash being handed out behind him through every window, that everything was fine, that Mr. Barron was a fool, that the trade was sound, that the company had ample reserves. None of this was true. Some of it he believed, the rest he hoped. In every Ponzi case ever exposed, the math was knowable in advance. Harry Markopoulos did the math on Madoff in 1999, 9 years before the collapse, and was ignored by the SEC 3 times. Clarence Barron did the math on Ponzi in a single morning. The arithmetic always tells the story. The hard question is not, how do we detect it? The arithmetic detects it. But who is willing to do the arithmetic, and who is willing to listen when they have? The discipline of skeptical, independent due diligence is the only operational answer. It is also historically the rarest. Every PIB checklist, every depository verification cycle, every Article 21 AIFMD oversight obligation, every UCITS 5 depository regime, every ICAAP model validation step exists because the arithmetic was at some point ignored.
Charles Ponzi. On 86 counts of mail fraud, this court finds you guilty. You are sentenced to 5 years in federal penitentiary. Your Honor, the sentence is unjust, but it is short. I shall be back.
He served 3 years and a half. He emerged in 1924 to face state charges of larceny. He fled. He was recaptured in New Orleans, working as a waiter under an assumed name. He served 7 more years. In 1934, after the Securities Act and the Securities Exchange Act had passed in his absence, laws written in part to prevent the next Charles Ponzi, the original Charles Ponzi was deported to Italy as an undesirable alien. In Rome, he attempted, with mixed success, to ingratiate himself with the Mussolini regime. He was offered, after some time, a position in the Brazil office of an Italian airline. He accepted. He moved to Rio de Janeiro in 1939. The airline went bankrupt during the Second World War.
Of course.
Mr.
I'm
Ponzi
ready.
declined to
My
follow
dear
it.
friend, I am in Rio.
Even if they never got anything for
My
it, it
body
was
fails,
cheap
but
at
my
that
mind is
price.
clear.
Without me, Boston would have been blue with envy. I gave them the best show that was ever staged in their territory since the landing of the Pilgrims. It was easily worth $15 million to watch me put the thing over.
He was the only one who thought so. He was, in this as in most things, sincere. Charles Ponzi died in the charity ward of São Francisco Hospital, Rio de Janeiro, on the 18th of January, 1949. He was 66 years old. He had on his person at the time of death 75 American dollars in cash, exactly 30 times the sum he had carried off the SS Vancouver in November 1903. The arithmetic, this final time, was small enough to be true. Before it became a scheme, it was a man. After he was the man, it became a category, and the laws that followed. The Securities Act of 1933, the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the mail fraud machine that would, a century later, catch his many imitators. Bernard Madoff, Alan Stanford, Tom Petters, Scott Rothstein, the crypto coin men of 2017 and 2021 and 2024. Every one of them, in some department of his crime, a Ponzi. He had wanted to be famous. He had achieved that. He had wanted to be rich. He had achieved that briefly. He had wanted his name to last. He had achieved that too. He had wanted it to be a name people spoke of with respect. He had achieved instead the opposite. Names are tricky things. They go on saying you long after you stop being able to say back. Charles Ponzi, 1882 to 1949. FRAUD-FLIX. Case file 00. The file is opened. The next is already calling.
I'd despise you half as deep as I do, and I never expected this winter to crawl through my veins. There's no warmth left in here when your shadow appears. You crossed my doorway, you dragged the frost in behind you.
Nothing more, nothing less. Hate is the only truth.
It must be hate, hate, hate. It must be hate, hate, hate.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Hate is the only truth. We say so much with only silence. Just a glance, just a sneer, and the poison runs between us. I never want to find you, but you haunt every corner. You stop in my breath, you turn the daylight gray. As soon as I open my eyes, every night, every day, you are the face that I'm running away from, running away from, running away from. It must be hate, hate, hate. It must be hate, hate, hate.
Nothing more, nothing
is the only truth. There must be hate, hate, hate.